So part of the idea of shadow is that we all have one. It's all the things we don't want to be, and that it's better to become conscious of the shadow rather than just pushing it away. It's better to have a relationship with it because otherwise it kind of runs things from behind the curtain. And there's like value in getting to know your darker parts. It gives you authority. You're more solid. And so I was like, okay, I remember trying, before I had kids, sort of thinking like, okay, nothing that is human is alien to me, right? And this notion of like sadism, like taking pleasure in someone else's suffering, I was like, I can't see that in myself. I've never taken pleasure in someone else's suffering. And then I remember, my daughter, when she was a toddler, she used to hate to have a bath. And one day I just got so frustrated, like the water was too hot or it was too cold or there was soap in her eyes. It was so frustrating. And at one point I took a pail of water that was a little bit too cool and dumped it over her head and she wailed and I liked it.
Oh,
And I was like,
yeah.
oh, there's my sadism,
Hello, shadow.
right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, this is very humbling. Like, I'm not proud to admit that, but I think it's human. And I think it's like, okay, well, now I know something about myself I didn't know before,
Yeah.
and I think in some sense, like what's the purpose of life? In some sense, you can make an argument that it's to know yourself as fully as possible. And if that's true, there's nothing like parenting to help you get to know yourself, both your good parts and your bad parts, especially the bad parts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that, when you dump the pail of water, and you saw that shadow, I imagine it was like, it was like a hello. Here's this shadow here. I imagine for your daughter, she's like, what's going on, mom?
Right.
Right. There was probably some repair
Yes.
that happened kind of after that. And that process of kind of knowing that this is of me as well as, of other people. What I see it as, I guess this value I see it as is like, well, you can, when you know, okay, I have, hello, anger. I've got this temper in me. I've got this anger. I've got this, sometimes I have this desire to see people frustrated or whatever these shadow things are that we have. We can see them coming and then we can maybe process them in another way. But I also think it gives us a lot of compassion
Mm-hmm.
for others. And I also think it makes us more, it helps us be a little more accepting of our kids